have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
In part one, the tragedy. In this, part two, the rescue. Jason Thomas, fresh out of the Marines, heard the news reports and headed straight for ground zero. As America commemorates 23 years already, we pick up the story. It's now night, many hours since both towers collapsed. Our black hero standing atop a smoldering mountain of crushed glass, twisted metal, fallen concrete, and incinerated bodies. When he hears a voice, what he does next, now on Blackland.
And now,
as a brown person, you just feel so invisible.
Where we're from.
Brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this joyful day.
We celebrate freedom. Where we are.
Get on the ground!
I know someone heard something.
And where we're going.
We the people means all the people.
The Black Information Network presents Blackland with your host, Vanessa Tyler.
We'll make it well. Just don't go to sleep.
Sarge, I got fire here! Ah! Ah, Sarge! There's nothing I can do here!
That's a clip from the movie World Trade Center. The rescue so spectacular, famed director Oliver Stone even did a movie about the heroics of Jason Thomas. The movie depicts the two men, two NYPD Port Authority cops, Sergeant John McLaughlin, played by actor Nicolas Cage, and Officer Will Jimeno, played by actor Michael Pena, down there for hours. On top of the pile, Jason Thomas and his fellow Marine, Sergeant Carnes.
And I immediately yell out to Staff Sergeant Carnes and I tell him, "Hey, brother, I think we have someone." He immediately turns around and he gets on his hands and knees and he starts to crawl back towards me. We are like head to head and we both yell into this hole. This is the United States Marines. Is there anyone down there? And they're like, we hear another voice. And it was amazing. It was amazing to hear that all the work and effort that went into crawling across the debris, all the burns on my hands and my boots sinking into the rebar because the rebar, it was still hot, was so worth it. And so Staff Sergeant Carnes immediately gets to his feet, removes his military gear off, and he goes into the hole. I tear off my military gear. I throw that to the side as well, and I try to assess the area and see if anyone was around, if I saw any lights moving. Right now, it's like 7:30, 8:30 at night, and it's dark. The city is dark, and I don't see anyone. I yell for help, and no one is around at all. No one could hear me. And so what I do is I just started to go into the hole. I back into the hole like as if, I'm getting off my roof. Like if you're on a roof and you're backing onto the ladder, I'm doing that. And I climb down into this hole. I'm climbing down to get into the hole, and I lose my footing. Something breaks away from my feet and my hands, and boom, here it is. I'm falling into this hole, and I fall about every bit of like 12 feet down. And as I'm falling, I could see the mouth of that hole that I went into is getting smaller and smaller. And bang, I land on my back. I knock the wind out of myself, and I'm gasping for air.
Falling down the hole got him closer to the men trapped, and what he thought he heard was confirmed. Two men needed to be rescued ASAP.
And so I look to the right, and I see a fire that was definitely a concern to me. And so I roll over to my hands and knees, and I yell to Staff Sergeant Carnes, and he yells back, and we both go in. I get to him, and we're just digging and digging. We're pulling huge chunks of concrete out. We didn't know who it was, until we got a little closer, and he's rattling off a number, and I'm like, you know, just trying to keep him calm, right? I'm trying to keep him calm, and he finally says that he's a Port Authority police officer, and his sergeant is down here as well. And he was like, please get to my sergeant. Me and my sergeant, I haven't heard from my sergeant in hours. And we were both communicating with one another, and and to keep each other alive. He also shared, he said, hey, I think I died 3 times, and an angel came and revived me all 3 times. And I'm like, brother, well, I'm not leaving you. I'm a Marine. When we make a promise, we keep it. I'm not going to leave you. We dig our way closer to get to him, and we tried to remove as much debris. He was completely covered in debris. We removed as much debris as possible until, we couldn't, and and found out that his right leg was trapped, was pinned, and there was no way to get that leg out or get him out. And so he's like, hey, I need you to get to John. I need you to get to John. He was so concerned with John. And I remember telling him, hey, listen, this is the path to John, and you're blocking it. And he's like, take my leg off. He said, cut my leg off because I need you to get to him. I hope he's okay. And I remember telling him, hey, we'll be right back. And that was so difficult. Leaving him at that time, we had to turn around because the hole was so bad. I couldn't even breathe. It was so hot, so much black smoke, just couldn't breathe. And so we ended up telling him, stand by, we'll be right back. So we went back topside, and, I tried to make a cell phone call from my cell, and the towers were down. I was getting no signal at all. We were both trying, myself and Staff Sergeant Carnes are trying, and once again, nothing. But on like the third time, Staff Sergeant Carnes made contact with his sister, and his sister called the police department. The police department did a triangulation on where we were located and notified a team of people to come, a team of rescuers to come to our site. About 30 minutes later, as we went back into the hole, 'cause I knew it was going to take some time, we went back into the hole and we started to remove as much debris as possible and stack it up, alongside that wall, because getting in and out of that hole was definitely a challenge. And so we, about 30 minutes later, we get back topside, and I see a string of lights moving about 100 yards, 200 yards away from us. And I remember yelling for help, and they were not hearing. I had a flashlight, a military style, they call it a moonbeam, but a flash in the military, it's a flashlight. I ended up turning that on and waving that in the air, and I ended up, I guess they saw me waving my flashlight. And they made themselves over to me. When they got about, this one gentleman got really close, and as he tells me that he's a paramedic and he wanted to help. I remember telling him, hey, we got, just running down the assessment, pretty much what we had assessed, or what we found in this hole, right? I told him that 2 Port Authority police officers that were injured and buried, but possibly still alive, the second one. And, but none of them had any gear at all. They didn't have the jaws of life. They didn't have any oxygen at the least, or water, anything at all that would cut away or break away, any tools that would help in removing Will Himeno's leg and from, that pin. And so I ended up sending them away, and I told them, hey, I need you to go get water, oxygen for these guys, as well as like the jaws of life, get tools that you can find to assist, because these guys are buried. and they all went away. And so as I'm moving, as I get back inside, go back into um, the hole is very shaky. Like I felt like it was going to collapse. And I remember I had a disposable camera that I was just, as I was walking through the city, I would take a couple pictures and stick it back into my cargo pocket. And at that time, I was like, hey, if the hole's going to collapse and I want my baby girl to be able to, I'm hoping someone finds this camera, right? I'm saying to myself, I don't want to go back. I want to go back into this hole because I made a promise and a commitment to Will Himino that I would see him out of that hole.
Mm.
But I didn't want to leave my baby girl, Imani. I didn't want to leave her. And I didn't want to die and leave her with nothing. And so I was hoping by taking these pictures of myself and Staff Sergeant Carnes that someone would find my camera, and we continue to they continue to break away that concrete and use the jaws of life to cut through the debris to get his leg free. They end up getting him on a medical board, and
Did they save his leg?
and they saved his leg. They did save his leg. After I talked to him years after I think this is when I first met him. My main concern over the years, this is coming up on the 5-year anniversary of 9/11. And, over the years, over those 5 years, I always wondered, were they okay? Because I didn't really know who they were. And so the only concern that I had was, were they healthy? Were they okay? And
And
that
so
was
his
it.
sergeant got out too. Not only he was very concerned about his sergeant, so they both made it out alive, thanks
So
to
both
you.
of them made that alive. Both of them made that alive. And we communicate to this day.
How has this experience changed you?
It has changed me because I feel not somewhat, I feel the same way. That life is short. And not only, I want to spend every moment with my kids, but my kids do not see it. They do not see it the same way, right? They're young. They were young, and now they're grown and they're, doing their
Right, your
thing. And
baby now has got to be in her 20s.
yes, yes, and she is. And so yes, she's 23 years old, and she's she's in college and trying to finish this up. And but like I said, you try to put your values in perspective, right? And where you place your values and your time. And as much as I want to spend as much time with them.
So here's that twist I told you about in the movie.
Like any good story, Hollywood always makes a movie. And in the 2006 Oliver Stone epic titled World Trade Center, the heroics of Sergeant Jason Thomas, your heroics were portrayed. But there was one little problem. The actor who played you was white. How shocking was that?
For me, it was not shocking. I honestly did not think twice about it. When I heard of a movie being made, I watched the trailer on television late in the evening, and we were all having like family night and we're watching television, and the trailer comes on. And I just couldn't believe, I didn't even know that a movie was being made until that trailer. And the only words out of my mouth is, that's me. Like, that's me. That's my story, or that's me. And I just couldn't believe it.
Another year. At least the nightmares have stopped.
I would have nightmares, every other night. I would feel like there were more people that were in that pile of rubble that was still trapped. I would feel like I could have done more, but I would have these nightmares, and it would make me feel so guilty and so hurt that and sad that I just couldn't, I didn't know I didn't know how to deal with it. But I would just suppress it and tuck it away, didn't talk to my wife all about it. And I just continued go about my life, and to see a trailer, and I thought I did a good job, right? I thought I did a good job because I had coached my son's little league team, and I'm moving on and I'm working and, just moving on, right? And here it is, this trailer out of nowhere comes on television, and it just was so shocking. And it brought me right back to that day.
And
That
it
day
didn't bother you
when
that the actor was white who portrayed you?
it did not bother me at all. What really bothered me, Vanessa, was that Marine that played that person, that actor that played me, had, was out of uniform. And what I mean by that, he had like a hard hat on that said, I think, Econ or Edison or something like that. And he had his military gear with military gear on. And I'm like, that's out of uniform, and that's a misrepresentation. But I also looked at it, for that was a split second, right? That I thought that way. I wasn't upset at all. I mean, I was a little upset that the actor was out of uniform representing the military personnel. And that's a big thing for our military.
Oh, and about that camera.
About 10 years after I lost the camera, I'm at work. I'm living in Columbus, Ohio, and I get a phone call out of the blue asking, am I Jason Thomas? And we're not far from September. So I'm thinking someone is wanting to do an interview or something like that. And I'm like, yes, I'm Jason Thomas. And he's like, hey, I'm a firefighter. My name is John. I'm a firefighter. I say, John, hey, I'm at work right now. Can you call me right back? And I hang up the phone. And so he immediately calls me back and he says, Jason, I found your camera.
Mm.
And I almost passed out. However, I looked at so much good that occurred on that day. How on September 11th, we were attacked and we felt like we were broken a little bit. And on September 12th, we had regained our footing and we had came together. My community had came together. Everyone was flying a U.S. flag. Everyone had came together to help each other. We were all looking out and more aware of our surroundings. And so to see that, to see that, I didn't look at, I looked at an actor playing me and he's a Caucasian. I just didn't, it was so small and minute. And so I only looked at it from a positive perspective.
And here we are, 23 years later. We promised to never forget, and you certainly never will. Do you think America has forgotten, especially in places other than in New York City, where the rubble burned for months?
I do think that we have. I think we became complacent as a country. I think that we're focusing too much on the wrong thing, and it's dividing us. And it's so upsetting because it felt that same way in 2001. The country felt divided and we were attacked. And we came together. I don't ever want to be attacked that way. I don't ever want to be attacked, period. And so our enemy is, it makes me feel like our enemy is looking at those weaknesses and trying to capitalize off of them. And if we don't get ourselves together, I think that we're going to be doomed, or an attack may occur, right? We're doomed for failure. And so it's upsetting that the country feels divided over minor things.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Wow. Jason Thomas, our hero and America's hero. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Vanessa. I so appreciate the interview. Thank you.
I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me next time on Blackland. A new episode drops every Friday.